Hi, my name is Eric and I work with Forte. Today I'd like to show you a set of just beginning hip exercises. It's a good way to start activating your hip muscles. Your hip muscles in particular are very important in helping create a stable core. They are also very helpful in stabilizing around the knees and improving balance as well as just walking mechanics. So these are a good set of exercises you can really do anywhere. We're going to do mostly standing activities with this today. But even if you have bad knees or bad hips, you should be able to do these as long as you're cautious with how you do it. Along the way, I'll show you some different modifications with the amount of movement specifically so that you're not aggravating anything along the way either. Okay, we're going to start off with one of the most simple things, and it's not directly related to the hips, but it's important for all exercises that I teach, and that is ab bracing. So I'm going to turn sideways. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've probably seen me do this before, but I'm going to just totally relax my stomach. There's my stomach totally relaxed. And then I'm going to lightly tighten my tummy muscles just to draw them in ever so slightly. I'll take my hands out of the way. So relaxed stomach, and then I just slightly tighten them up. Now, as I'm tightening these up, my goal is to be able to hold this for as long as I possibly can. So I don't want this to be a deep hollowing of the stomach. I don't want it to be something that creates a change in your spinal position or anything along those lines. It's just lightly engaging those muscles to create some control and stability. That's an important thing to do. I usually have people start off with 5-second holds and then let it relax again and then tighten it up and just kind of keep doing repetitions along those lines. As you get better at it, you can do this for longer periods of time. I encourage people to practice abdominal bracing all the time. So if you're washing dishes, if you're brushing your teeth, if you're getting in and out of a car, up and down from a chair, in and out of bed, things along those lines, the more often you remember to engage those abdominal muscles and brace with those abdominal muscles, the less likely that you are to cause strains to the spine in particular. And again, it just helps to stabilize from the core as we're doing other activities, whether it's with the arms or with the legs. Next thing that we're going to do again, that is a really good thing to learn how to do, like what we do with the ab bracing, is glute squeezes. So I'm going to turn sideways, and all I'm doing is, again, I'm just going to tighten up my glutes. You can kind of see my cheeks just squeeze together there a little bit, and then we're going to relax them. It's relatively imperceptible. My, shorts are a little bit baggy, but you get the point. We're going to hold that again for about 5 seconds and let it relax. And while we're doing it, we want to be keeping the tummy engaged as well. So again, tummy, glutes all together really helps to create a lot more stability around the core. I try to encourage people similarly when we're standing for particularly longer periods of time, the more you can engage both the glutes and the tummy muscles together, the better off it is for you. The other piece that comes into play is people, when they start to squeeze their glutes, they feel like they want to lock their knees. I would encourage you to make sure that as you're squeezing your glutes, that you can still keep your knees a little bit soft and flexible. So if you've got some good practice here going, tummy tightening, glute tightening, the next thing to go into is what we call hip extension. I'll turn sideways again. Now, at a beginning level, hip extension is really just this. It's just sliding the foot backward, keeping the knee straight, tummy is tight, glute is tight. You really feel that glute again tightening up on that same side. We hold for just a few seconds. We put it down. Notice I did not even lift my foot up off of the floor for that, but it's kind of toe down. And I would say, again, if you're a beginner, alternate side to side, do about a 3-second hold, and then let it come back in. And again, I'm just sliding it. If this is something that feels a little easier for you, lift the foot up off of the floor, kick it back. Again, it doesn't have to go super far. The key is engaging the glute. I don't want a lot of arch in the back with this for most people. And similarly, alternating side to side. But you can also do multiple repetitions on the same side and then switch to the other side. And again, I would say start off with about 15 on the one side and then do about 15 on the other side, or alternating side to side. Some people cannot do 15 in a row and they can only do about 5 or 10 in a row. So if this is you and you're here, that's fine. You stay there for 3 seconds, put it down, 3 seconds, put it down, and I'm just going to go ahead and go through. Good, and you just keep doing whatever level you're doing. I'm going to do this low level. This is a good place for beginners to start. This is a good place even for a lot of people just throughout the day. We can do this standing in line at the grocery store. If you're a person that goes to theme parks and you are standing inside in line for long periods of time, again, something you can do there. Even something that you can do taking a standing break, or if you have a sit-stand desk at work, just something you can do periodically through the day that way. The next movement we're going to do is abduction. So it's kicking out to the side. And again, I'm going to show the beginning movement on this first. We're going to first start, we're engaging the tummy, engaging the glutes. I have a chair for balance. I may or may not need it, but we have it there just in case. And I'm just going to go slightly out to the side. I'm going to feel the muscles in my glute tighten up a little bit more, as well as in the side of my hip. I bring it back down and I go out the other side. And I bring it back down. And again, I'm just doing about a 3-second hold. And again, this small movement is a great place to start. For some people, it's actually better to be facing the chair, so they've got a little bit more balance by facing it this way. If you can go a little bit further out, you can lift the foot off the floor, keep going, then that's even better. It's a stronger challenge to your balance. The other thing I would point out is don't lock your knee. Okay, so I don't want it locked back here. I want it to be soft. The knee is straight. We're just doing 3-second holds. This is not just kind of winging it out side to side. This is purposefully out, hold, bring it back down, purposefully out, hold, bring it back down. We're going to do just a couple more on each side. I'm going to show again the lower intensity version. Foot stays relatively on the floor, but just kind of tapping there. There we go. Good, and now we're going to do a marching in place. And all we're doing again is I'm going to show the low level first, and this is just bringing the foot up off of the floor. If you have balance issues, holding on to the chair is a good place to start with this. Again, you can be facing the chair while you're doing this marching activity. And I want you to pay attention as I'm turned sideways here. I am not sitting back or anything along those lines. I'm just trying to bring that knee forward. And I shift my weight a little bit side to side as I bring my foot up off of the floor. That's normal. I don't want to see, this kind of a thing is not what we're going for. We want the body to be relatively straight, keeping the tummy engaged as possible, especially on the leg you stand on. Keep the glute engaged. And again, if you need to start off by just kind of lifting the foot up off just a little bit, that's okay. If you can go a little higher, that's okay. The goal at some point, ideally, is coming up to about a 90-degree angle so that you're really getting the full functional range of motion out of that hip, if at all possible. The hand on the chair, if you're using it for balance, should just be relatively light, like ideally a fingertip, and not really putting a lot of pressure on it. But for people with balance issues, or for people that this might be a newer activity for them, just hold on to the chair with as much as you need, but not so much that you're not feeling like you're getting a lot of work toward balance. Okay, now we're going to add a little modification to this, and it's just kind of a crossover. So the knee kind of comes up and crosses over. I'm showing an exaggerated movement with this so you get the point of it. This can be here. And what this does is it creates a little rotation, right? We see that little rotation at the hips that engages my oblique muscles a little bit, but it also engages my inner thigh muscle to create some of that movement as well. And that really is the point of it more than anything else. We want that inner thigh set of muscles to kind of kick in and help bring the knee across a little bit, with the intent of just activating a different set of muscles. Okay, and again, we're just going to aim for 10 or 15 repetitions on each side with this. Not particularly counting because I'm showing some different levels with it. And you do what works for you. If 5 repetitions is all you can do, if 7 or 12 or 23 is the number you can do, that's great. You do what works for you at the time that you're doing it. I'm going to go ahead and stop with the chair and stop with that movement. And I'm going to do just a side step. Okay. Now in place, you can probably do this for a while. You're going to feel this going on in your hips, the outsides of your hips. Again, if you're new to this, this might be the amount of movement that you do. And you might, again, keep the chair handy as something to hold on to, or facing the chair and just kind of stepping side to side with that movement, just to give yourself that balance assistance. If you've been doing movement for a little bit longer, you can do it without holding on, great. If you want to add a challenge to it, try to do this without scooting quite so much, you can take a bigger step. Okay, so this is more advanced. And then of course you can always add a little bit of a squat, so a little bit of a knee bend. And when we do this, it's a sit back movement, right? So sitting back and stepping across would be another higher end of that. You do whatever you want with your hands. I just tend to rest them on my thighs. But again, you can the other options are just big steps, smaller steps, or again, just holding on to the chair for balance if you need it. And those are some modifications. And again, something that you can do relatively simply if you're at a sit-stand desk at work, if you just stand up for a couple of minutes, just to move side to side. For some people, I'm going to go off camera here. If they have a long hallway, I'll have them just walk sideways down the hallway. Like I said, I'm going off camera, and then walk sideways, coming back down the hallway. And I have people do that in their homes a lot as a part of their therapy in many cases, because it really helps to stabilize and get those hips moving, and you get a consistent movement in one direction for a period of time. All right, we're going to stop on that one. I'm going to turn sideways again so you can see this next. It's a version of a Romanian deadlift. So the feet are going to be about your hip width apart. Your spine is going to stay relatively straight as you reach down toward the floor. Again, my spine stays relatively straight. My knees bend a little bit. I'm just reaching down, and as I come back up, hinging at my hips, I'm going to come up, squeeze my glutes, and I'm just going to pause here, and then I'm going to come right back down. Reaching forward, come back up, squeeze the glutes. This is not a weighted activity, but it could be. That's how you would make it harder for yourself. Additionally, as you're going down, I'm not looking forward, right? I'm not looking up this way. I'm looking down toward the floor. Come back up, squeeze. My spine should be staying relatively straight. I should be going up and down in a relatively straight movement. If you have tightness on one side or the other, it can cause small deviations side to side. I am not locking my knees. I'm keeping my tummy tight. And I'm really squeezing those glutes as I come back up. This movement is mostly about glutes and hamstrings, so the muscles on the backs of the thighs. And again, those all help strengthen and stabilize the hips, the knees, the core, and your overall balance. I feel like I'm deviating a little bit to my left today. And certainly my right leg feels a little bit tighter, so maybe that's why. But anyway, that's a good set of exercises. We're going to add one last one, and it's just a sit to stand. And again, if you sit all day long, this is a fantastic thing to do. Is just occasionally stand up, squeeze, push those hips forward, and then sit back down. Ideally, if your chair rolls, maybe you push it up against something so that it doesn't roll up. Squeeze, push those hips forward, feel that active stretch in the fronts of the hips. Back down. I'm going maybe a little fast. The number of repetitions, again, is not as important as the quality of the movement. You want to make sure as much as possible as you start this that you're maybe near the edge of your chair. You lean your head forward, you push up with your legs, and then you stand up. As you go down, it's the opposite. Head goes forward, then the butt goes back, so that the head and the butt kind of counterbalance one another. And that's your mechanics of your movement. As we all get stronger, we can kind of cheat at that a little bit. But if you want to practice this with the best mechanics and with the least stress on your knees, do exactly what I'm doing right now, where my head goes forward, nose past my toes, come straight up after my butt comes off the chair. nose past the toes, then bring my butt down toward the chair. And that's how we teach that. I would also tell you that starting off with a higher chair is also easier on the knees and easier just in general for the movement. But if you don't have a higher chair to work with, that's fine. Sometimes I'll also tell people practice that on the arm of the couch, as long as you feel like your couch is stable and you're not going to fall backward onto your couch. I appreciate your time today. My name is Eric. I work with Forte. I hope you got something out of this set of exercises. If you're interested in others, please look to us for some additional exercise videos. And thank you for your time. Have a great rest of your day.
We here at Forte would like to thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to follow more of the offerings from Forte, please subscribe below. And don't forget to share us with your friends. Enjoy well-being.